Oh, fancy meeting you here. Hey, it's Jim Cerone, the perfect host, DJNTV, and it's time for our next episode. At the moment, we are in a 5-mile backup. On today's show, we're going to talk about number 6 of the Perfect Host Top 10 as we continue to complete that house of cards. We do have some musical advice in the music room, and of course, a Moron marketing tip that's all on the way. Still here, still waiting. It's the Perfect Host Show, Jim Cerone on DJNTV. We've made it up to number 6 of the Perfect Host Top 10. Can you tell there's a truck about 5 feet away? It's called Listen Up. Listen Up, that's something that you should do during your events, in your sales presentations, on the phone, if you're lucky enough to get somebody on the phone. What does that mean? Listening is a skill. It's something that you have to really concentrate on. We talked about that when we discussed remembering names, but it also comes into play when you're listening to a client, a prospective client, on the phone. How much are you listening and how much are you talking? You've heard the phrase, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because we're supposed to listen twice as much as we talk. The game has changed, as we've talked about with our Moron marketing tips and some of the books I've recommended. Things are very, very different now, and the clients we're serving are very different. And so we have to listen a lot more and talk less, because they don't want to hear us talk. So how much do you listen, and how carefully are you listening? Not just the words they're saying, but the nonverbal cues when you're on the phone. I know you're looking at me like, Jim, what are you talking about? How can you see somebody when you're on the phone? Are they focused on you, or are they driving? Are they focused on you, or can you hear kids in the background? Are they focused on you, but can you hear wind noise and dogs barking because they're walking their pet? If you hear those nonverbal cues, chances are they're not listening very carefully to you. But you're also listening for details. How stressed are they? Can you tell? Are they very casual and relaxed? Are they asking a lot of questions or not? So all of these cues give you the guidance on how you should steer the conversation. Then if you're in an appointment, if you actually have a chance to sit down and talk with the couple in person, are they sitting close together? I have a couch in my office that has 3 cushions. And if the groom sits on the left-hand cushion and leaves the middle cushion open, and the bride is sitting on the right-hand cushion, that's a clue. If they're sitting together on the middle cushion and they're holding hands, that's another clue. It's all just little things that help you determine how to present, what kind of couple you're talking to. My friend Matt Grauman always says, remember, we're entertainers, and so any interaction we have with clients should include some fun. Matt's a very smart guy. We've been friends for a long time, and he's exactly right. So we have to be enthusiastic, but if they're a very quiet, shy couple, we don't want to overdo that, because then they'll shrink back even more. Now, at your events, you should be listening from the minute you walk in the door until the very end. That includes listening to the staff while you're setting up. What are they talking about? Are they talking to each other at all? The servers, the people who are decorating the tables, the florist, anybody? What's the energy? What's the mood of the room? Are people interacting well, or are they complaining about their working conditions? Because that may give you a clue as to how the evening's going to go. As the guests begin to arrive, I've talked about being the perfect host and making sure that you're interacting with guests, you're getting out from behind your table and talking to people from cocktail hour through dinner hour. You should be listening during those times too. What's the temperature in the room? My friend John Bruce has something he coined called the party IQ, and I love that phrase. Every party has a different IQ, and some, you know that these people are party people, that they get together all the time, and so they kind of know the drill. You don't have to do as much to keep them entertained because they keep themselves entertained. Other times, the temperature of the room is really low. the two sides of the family don't know each other, or they're very different from each other. Maybe her family is very outgoing and his family is very religious, very small town, very quiet. You're going to have to do more in that kind of a situation to get everybody together out on the dance floor and to raise the party IQ, to raise the temperature in the room. These are all things you should be listening for. When you make your first announcement, you should be listening. How can you do that while you're talking? You can. You have to listen to the pauses, the space between your words. Are people quiet? Are there conversations still going on? Or do you have their attention? Have you really captured the whole attention of the room? Is everybody dialed in to what you're saying? And then, of course, listen as you walk around the room during dinner, getting requests and checking in with tables and making sure everybody's happy. Are they all smiling and laughing? Do you hear a lot of laughter? And is the conversation level in the room pretty loud? That's a good sign that the dance floor is going to explode later. But if the conversation level is really quiet during dinner, then you may need to get out and be more interactive. Then once the dance floor gets going, as the open dancing begins and everybody's participating, you should still be listening. And by that I mean walking around the room, making sure that the volume doesn't get too loud. We love to play our speakers loud. That's kind of why we all got into being DJs, is so we can play music loud. But sometimes in some venues, based on the acoustics, it can get too loud. So number 6 of the Perfect Host Top 10 list is listen up. Use your listening skills and your listening ears all throughout your events, in your sales consultations, on the phone, and that's number 6, listen up. We'll go into the music room next with some tips on how to keep your music tight.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Jim Cerone, the Perfect Host on DJNTV. I like how the truck behind now has offered better lighting. So in the music room this week, it's the end of the year. There are almost no new songs being released. So I thought we'd talk about how to keep your music tight. And I'm specifically talking about cocktail and dinner music. What do you use to play your cocktail and dinner music? Are you using Serato or some other DJ program? Or are you using something like iTunes? I heard a collective gasp out there. Yes, iTunes is actually a pretty good way to play cocktail and dinner music. Why? Because it doesn't crossfade and make horrible train wrecks. I love iTunes. I know a lot of people don't. But I've kind of conquered the way to tighten up your playlist there. In a DJ program, you can set cue points, and a lot of us worry about how the cue point is at the beginning. But how do you set your ending? That's a really important thing, because if you have a song that ends cold and you're using DJ software to mix, chances are the software is going to cut that cold ending off and start the next song either over it or completely chop off the end of the song. And if it's a vocal with the last couple words of the song, guests are going to notice that. I know I overthink everything, but they will. It sounds bad. It sounds choppy and sloppy. So what I use in iTunes is the options feature. And here's how you do that. This screen takes you to lots of different options and lets you set the start time, the exact start time down to the 10th of a second, and the stop time. Now, again, you can do this in your DJ software, but if you use iTunes to do it, it will play one song, finish that song, and start the next. You don't have to use a crossfade feature at all. But if you let iTunes do that without tightening the songs, there are chances that you're going to have dead air. So I go in using this options feature to tighten all of my cocktail and dinner songs. Yes, all my songs every week, because I want it to sound as smooth and seamless as possible, and I don't want those rough train wrecks that DJ software can give us when we put it in an autoplay feature for cocktails and dinner. So that's your tip in the music room this week, to keep it tight. More on marketing next. Still waiting. Well, I'm glad we had this little traffic backup so you and I could chat and have this show on DJNTV. It's The Perfect Host. I'm Jim Cerone. Your Moron marketing tip as we near the end of the year. Have you said thank you? Have you said thank you to all the people who sent you referrals this year? That may be your brides and grooms, your corporate clients, your favorite HR person, your bar and bat mitzvah clients that you've had for years. You've done multiple children in the family. Be sure that you're saying thank you to the people that are sending you business. So that way you'll have plenty of business as we head into next year. That's your Moron marketing tip, and that's the end of this Perfect Host episode. Somewhere on 65, waiting in traffic, I'm Jim Cerone.